Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Vechain. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. And if you haven't seen the previous update, make sure to watch that before watching this one. It's going to be linked in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Now let's jump straight into the TA. So taking a look at the daily chart, as you can see, we did retest this June bottom, and the last update we had for Vechain was out on July 20th, I believe, and that was when we were all the way up here above the 20 EMA. And at that point, I told you that it is possible that we're going to come back down and retest this low here. As you can see, we have a yellow trend line below that, but we also have a Fibonacci retracement set up from the July high down to the June low. And slowly but surely, we made our way back down to that low. We retested it perfectly, and now we're moving to the upside, and we are running into the 0.382 at 0.01803 cents. And I did tell you that you can set up a few buy limit orders at every single fib level here, and if you did buy the majority of the tokens here at the bottom, then right now you're sitting at a 21.5% move to the upside. And if you want to take profits, obviously you can take profits right now. If you want to hold, you can hold. But what is happening at the very moment is that we are running into some sort of resistance. So not only do we have the 0.382 there, but we also have this local low that we did print in August. And we also retested this level in June. And in general, you can see there were wicks to this area throughout the summer. So we kept testing it as support, then we broke down below, and now we're coming up and we are retesting that zone as resistance. Pretty typical stuff, and I would expect a retracement from here, at least short term, back to the golden ratio, and we could retest 0.01668 cents. That is where the 20 EMA is probably going to be, or around that price. You can see we are moving forward with this potential bullish cross that we might get. The last time we had that was back in July, but it was short-lived, and then we had the move to the downside. The same could happen here if the markets start reversing and Bitcoin starts dropping and starts losing those major support levels there. So keep an eye on the 20 EMA because we should be retesting that at least. And if you're looking to enter off of the 20, you should be waiting for another 5.8% move to the downside. But for the most part, if you zoom out, you can see you're pretty low in terms of the price action, sitting very close to the bear market lows here. So if you want to start accumulating at these prices, I guess you can start doing that. We're technically back almost where we were back in July, but I would probably just advise waiting for retracement, just like I advised in the previous video. So if you waited until that, until this pullback, and from July 20th, we took a 23.8% pullback. So if you averaged in, around these prices here in August, right now you're sitting at a nice move to the upside. And in that case, you can add more tokens if you want to, but I would not start buying over here. There are other altcoins that are looking much better. You can also see we have this yellow resistance trend line that we have retested multiple times since May 2023. We had a lot of back tests of resistance, and we might run into that level one more time if this uptrend continues. And at that point, I would potentially even look for a swing trade, because if we continue this uptrend without any retracements, we're going to get very overextended, and then we're pretty much doomed for at least a 20% retracement. And hopefully, if that does happen, we can hold this support block, consolidate in this area around the golden ratio, and then move to the next target. But we are perfectly bouncing off this low here. We're potentially looking at a double bottom pattern. If we drag this trend line all the way from there to there, you are potentially looking at 0.02856. And that is going to be your technical target if you start breaking above this local high that we printed at the start of July. That is the only condition that needs to be met in order for us to target that level there. Otherwise, this is just a trend line. Taking a look at the daily RSI, what we talked about in the last video is the fact that whenever you break below this blue block, this blue support block, you tend to come back down to the oversold, which is below the index of 30. And back in July, we were sitting somewhere around these levels over here, as you can see. And then I said, if we end up losing that, we're probably going to, come back down into the oversold, just like we did back here in June, just like we did here back in May and in March and in December last year. And lo and behold, the exact same thing and the exact same scenario played out. We even had another dip into the oversold on September 10th, and then we started moving to the upside, and now we are above the red trend line here, which historically was a pretty strong resistance level. You can see we had a few bounces off of that level, so there was another little indicator telling us that you could potentially take profits here in swing trade. If you want to do that, if you're feeling frisky, if you know how to do it properly, you have proper risk management, then you can try to sell here and then look for an entry back at in the blue block there, in the blue support block. But I would be careful with these swing trades when the markets are sitting at such low prices, because if we continue pumping, you'll be left down here with your fiat. So that's pretty much everything I have for the daily chart. Let's switch over to the weekly. And before we continue with the video, I quickly want to mention my Patreon that's linked down below in the description. If you enjoy my content, you want to get more exclusive content, and you want to support me at the same time, definitely feel free to check out the Patreon, because you're going to get a 7-day free access on my Patreon and an instant access to all of my content since October 2021, which is when I started. You'll get access to content like exclusive weekly podcasts, and we're starting to invite guests already. We have 40 plus low cap gem posts. We have a bunch of project reviews. We have a bunch of resources that are going to help you save time and make more money with this upcoming bull market. So this is definitely a great exchange of value for the both of us. And once again, there's a 7-day free trial. Feel free to check it out. You can leave anytime, and let's continue with the video. Taking a look at the weekly chart, you can see we retested this purple support block, which was a very, very good entry point. We did test it back in December 2022, in June 2023, and once again in September 2023. And now what is happening is actually very bullish, because we are breaking above this major resistance trend line that we created back in April 2022. So this is a major falling wedge pattern that we have at hand, and the technical target is obviously all the way up there. But to be more conservative, you can actually just do something like this and have that be your technical target at 0.0289 cents. But I just have it there just because the trend line aligns with those highs pretty well. But technically speaking, you'd have the target somewhere around this February high. We also have a yellow resistance trend line that we just looked at on the daily chart, so we might continue pumping and move all the way up to 2.5 cents, and then have a pullback from there back into the pink or purple support block. And also keep in mind, the more you test a level, the higher the chances of a breakdown. So if you retest this support block a few more times, the chances of us breaking below it are going to be increasing. That's something important to keep in mind. We are running into the 20 EMA here, just like we ran into it back in July. So potentially this is just going to be another back test of resistance and a move back down. So be careful here. Expect both outcomes at the same time. We're not here to predict the future. We are here to prepare you for both outcomes. So you want to be ready for whatever happens. That way you never lose in these markets. Taking a look at the RSI, you can see that we are printing a higher low, which is good to see. There was a bit of a bullish divergence, I should say, with the RSI and the price action here with these lows, and then we did see a slight move to the upside. But right now the RSI is looking pretty good. We can also identify a resistance level here that was broken. As you can see, that was a pretty strong resistance level. We just broke above it, and if we take a look at the volume indicator, there's not much volume coming in. Not much volume coming in at all, so I would not really consider this a proper breakout. I think what's most likely occurring in this situation is that we're just going to be retesting the 20 EMA. This will be a fake out, and we will come back down into the purple block. So you will still have an opportunity to enter inside of this block. Not a financial advice, of course. Anything can happen in the markets, but this is just what I'm seeing. Worst case scenario in terms of a pump, we continue all the way up to the yellow trend line, or the 55 EMA here will reject us even earlier, and then we either print a higher low or we come back to the purple block. But I don't think we're going to be having a super breakout from here, and we're going to be breaking above the yellow trend line, which in fact, if we do, that is going to be our major indicator telling us that the bear market is in. As of right now, we don't know. We could potentially be dumping all the way down into this falling wedge and retesting the bottom of the support here, or even testing this lower major block. But that's pretty much it for this video. Let me know what you think of Vechain. Let me know what are your long-term targets for the next bull market. I want to thank you all once again. Stay safe and have a great day.